All right, here we are again with Captain Marty. He's got another story for us. And Marty, I was thinking about this before we cut the mics on. Didn't you have to maybe supplement your income when you weren't charter fishing? Because, charter fishing was only a certain time during the year.
Yeah, and that's a great question. Back when I was going through the Oregon Inlet Fleet, it was a 6-month job. Now it's on like a 9-month thing, but you did have to supplement your income. And I did a lot of that ocean gill netting, or what's called drop netting. And I'll tell you a little story about doing that with the famous Captain John Bayliss in just a moment.
Boasting phenomenal seafood dishes, a great menu, and waterfront views with deck seating, Striper's Bar and Grill at the Shallowbag Bay Marina in Manio serves a casual, fun-filled dining experience with an Outer Banks flair. With 3 floors to choose from, you're bound to find the perfect seat for you and yours while enjoying great food and fantastic drinks. To see our menu and to catch a glimpse of the beautiful views, go online to stripersbarandgrill.com. Striper's Bar and Grill at the Shallowbag Bay Marina in Manio, where everyone's a VIP.
Are you ready for a fishing thrill like no other?
Oh, there he is! There he is! Oh, got him up!
As seen on Wicked Tune at Outer Banks, the Carolina Girl, captained by majestic Jesse Anderson, is a custom, luxurious 53-foot Jarrett Bay-built boat running out of Hatteras Harbor Marina. Let Jesse and her crew give you a fishing experience of a lifetime. To book a trip, go online to CarolinaGirlSportFishing.com. Carolina Girl Sport Fishing, your offshore adventure awaits. So, back in the day, this would have been around 1980, I was settled in. I'd come up from Florida. I grew up on head boats, charter boats, and commercial fishing as a kid, really, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old.
Yes, sir.
Came here right out of high school. After I'd fished a couple summers at Oregon, I quit going home to Florida for the winter, and it was simpler and easier just to stay, and started getting into first king mackerel fishing in the spring and fall, which a lot of the charter boat guys did, and then I noticed they did this ocean gill netting, and they did it out of Wanchese, basically Oregon Inlet or Hatteras or even Ocracoke.
Okay.
And what it is, it's a winter fishery where they go out on 30 to 50-foot boats, one captain, one mate, and you have a big net reel on the back of your boat. You ride around, and you try to find schools of fish that are bundled up for the wintertime, and when the captain says drop the net, you throw the ball off the back, the net starts spinning, and you might set 1,000 yards or more of gill net, not seine net, but gill net.
Okay.
It's a drop net because it sinks to the bottom and stands like a picket fence. Hopefully you circle a school of fish and eventually they get hung up in it. So this today is one of a series of these stories I'll be telling you over time, so keep an eye on the podcast for other ones.
Okay.
But this winter, I did that for one winter. Now, I'm a Florida boy. I was used to the warm weather. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. The winter in Hatteras can be really, really windy, wet, and cold. And we would leave out of Manio. John had bought Bull Tolson's old drop net boat. Now, Bull was the king and still is the king of ocean drop netting. We bought his old boat. It was not big. It was like 35 foot, Bruno Stillman, and it was called the Tar Girl. And we ended up down in Hatteras. And John said, "You want to do this for a winter?" I said, "Sure. I'll give it a try, but I'm not making any promises beyond one winter." So we got out there, and man, Justin, it was hard. Number one, John was new at it. And if you know John, he's always trying to be the best at anything he ever tries to do. And he'll keep working at it until he is.
That's true.
So there were a lot of days, and some of our other stories we'll talk about, leaving out of Manio at 2 a.m, going down Hatteras Island. That old Ford truck, he had an old Ford pickup, rattling and cold outside, me bundled up thinking, I hope we don't go fishing today. Not the best. We get to Hatteras, and we did go fishing many of those days. So it was one of those spells where I was like, okay, this is hard work, early in the morning till late at night. It's cold, it's wet, it's dangerous. Coming across Hatteras Bar with 50 boxes of fish on the back of your boat, a little underpowered boat, very dangerous. And that's also other story for other day. But we did a stand down there one time of 4 days. We fished 4 days in a row, and every night we'd come to the dock, last boat to the dock, and we would be the last boat to get packed out, and it'd always be 8, 9 o'clock at night generally. And some boats were in at noon, so we were the last of the last. And then at the end of and we'd sleep wherever we could, maybe in the cabin of the boat, which was not a cabin, it was a slimy, stinky, wet forward cabin with one bunk. Or we'd go to somebody's house and sleep on the floor. Also, other stories for other times.
Okay.
But at the end of this 4-day stand, the wind started blowing. John said, when we made money, we were happy. John said, let's go home tonight, take a couple days off. And we knew it was going to blow. I was like, thank you, Jesus. I'm ready to go home, and this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So he said, but before we do, we need to take all the net off the net reel, which is, of course, no fishing. It's empty now. It's just wound up on this big reel, and put it in the back of the truck. And over the next few blow days, we'll rehang the net. You know how that works.
Oh,
you see people with it stretched out across their yard, hanging net. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought we were going to have a few days off from fishing, but not from working. So the way you do that, you back the truck up to the pier or the dock, then a couple people get up, you set the net reel in 0 or neutral, and you climb up in the truck and you start pulling one on the lead line, one on the float line. You pull 1,000 yards of net. Up, and that net is about 8 foot across. It's got a lead line on the bottom. You know all this.
Yep.
And then it has little corks or buoys on the top that makes it float. So it's a job, especially after 4 days of fishing. You're starving, So we pulled all that net up into the boat and slammed that old rusty tailgate on that old Ford pickup truck, and we were headed home. I've never been so happy in my life. He said, let's stop at Rocco's Pizza on the way through the village. You remember Rocco's?
Yeah, Rocco's Pizza in Hatteras Village.
Yeah, let's get a pizza and we'll eat that on the way home. So I'm like, okay, we had 4 good days. We made some work. The work is done. The net is loaded. We're getting a hot pizza and we can eat it going up the highway back to Manio and Mans Harbor.
Very nice.
So we get the Rocco's Pizza. And as we come out of first Hatteras, then we went through Frisco. We're munching on the pizza, and me and John both. And John got me started on my love for the Ramones.
Okay.
The Ramones, what would you call it? They were a punk band. Really, they're one of the first punk bands.
Okay.
But I love their music, and they were known to be up and down the beaches was where they did most, like Jersey, New York, down here. We've been to see them before at Rogues Gallery, and so John would listen. Now, he's from the radio business, and his dad he had a very vast music knowledge, and he had it turned up, Justin, loud.
Oh, Lord.
So he's the captain, he's the boss, and he paid for the pizza. So we're right. We clear Buxton, heading north, and you know there's that long stretch of highway, between there and Avon.
Yes.
We're eating the pizza. Life was good. Listening to the Ramones. And then all of a sudden, and now you got to remember, deafeningly loud, which is how he liked to listen to his music. All of a sudden, somebody behind us is flashing their bright lights. It's the dead of winter. There's nobody on the road. We're like, what's going on? And John says, wait a minute.
Why was this person flashing their lights? What the heck is going on? What did John think? We're going to find out in just a bit. When it comes to finding phenomenal seafood, you gotta go insane. That's right, stop into the Insane Seafood Market right there on Highway 64 in Columbia. Luke Midget and his crew work hard out on the water to make sure you have the freshest selection of seafood around. They provide a wide selection of fish, crabs, shrimp, oysters, and clams, just to name a few. Insane Seafood has a hot bar to satisfy that seafood craving right on the spot. Visit them online at insaneseafood.com and like them on social media. Go insane at Insane Seafood Market, Highway 64 in Columbia.
He turns the music down, like somebody's trying to flag us down. And finally we come to a stop, and the music's turned down. I've got my mouth full of pizza, and this guy drives up alongside of us that was behind us. And he said, you just set 1,000 yards of net down Highway 12.
Oh, my gosh.
The tailgate had fell off the truck when we hit one of those bumps, and the buoy pulled out. And it's set just as pretty as you could set it off the back of the boat in the hook.
Oh, my gosh.
So the music's so loud that you couldn't hear every one of them little corks hitting the metal of the tailgate as it went over. We sat right down the road beautifully. And I just was starting on my second piece of pizza. John, of course, John in situations like that was not usually a very happy camper.
Don't imagine.
And we were dead tired. We had to get out. It ended up like 5 or 6 cars stopped. And we had to take turns. It's one thing pulling a net into the truck when you're pulling off a spinning net reel.
Yes.
It's a totally different thing when one person's in the truck backing the truck up.
I was gonna say,
And a couple other people are in the back of the truck on the highway.
Golly
and,
day.
And a few people out on the highway feeding it to the, and it took us well over an hour. Then the cops came.
I
The
bet.
blue lights were on. But
Oh,
we made
my.
a set of 1,000 yards of gill net. And that was one of the times. It was not the straw that broke the camel's back. But at that point, I said, you know how you talk to yourself sometimes? The rest of that trip home, the Ramones, we kept on very low.
very low.
We might listen to Elton John or something a little more peaceful. But I was thinking, you know what? I don't think I was meant for this. I don't think I'm cut out to be an ocean gill netter. And I'll tell you the other story about how what changed my career later on that very same season. When I made a promise to God one day out in the middle of the ocean one night by ourselves, I said, God, if you get me back into port tonight, I'll finish my last 2 weeks of the season, but will never step foot on another ocean. And I made that promise, and I kept it too. Even now, when I go to the dock and visit my friends on the gill net boats, they say, come aboard. I can't do it because I promised God I'd never step foot on another drop net boat.
Dear Lord.
So anyway, that's pizza and the Ramones and ocean gill netting, Justin.